Still looking at me funny?
Yes, he is.
Tell him to stop or I'll pull up his search history.
Ladies and gentlemen, finally did it. I'm doing it. Equestria at War, baby. Yes, this is Hoi 4 in the My Little Pony universe. Of course, a lot of places are fictional, but some aren't. Yes, and today we are going to be playing Equestria at War, the My Little Pony mod for Hearts of Iron 4. It is one of my favorite mods, personally, and one of the most detailed I've actually ever played. This comes on par with Kaiserreich in TNO. Land of Equestria is a peaceful haven of pony kind. Oh, it's not always like that. Yeah, a lot of politics. We're playing as Princess Celestia. Communist ponies and monarchist griffins and river ponies. Look, this is what happens when you select divisions.
Our lands must be preserved. Magic makes us strong. Magic makes us strong.
Yep, I'm not surprised. In this mod, there is the main Great War between Queen Chrysalis and Princess Celestia. Chrysalis goes after like Olenia and the polar bears and all that stuff before they come after me. Griffin, Grover the Fifth dies, and sometimes they unify. Knock off. Yeah, I wonder who this could possibly be parroting. Friendship is magic. Stagnation, harmony. Yeah, let's not talk about that. Emperor is dead.
It's good day to be not dead. Pow! You are dead. I'm dead.
Yeah. And then the Empire kind of just falls apart. I wonder what they're going to do. Did get Princess Luna, which is pretty nice. Celestia frowned, flipping through the report of missing weapon shipments. She startled in surprise as Luna entered. Luna looked serious. Celestia, I've stayed behind the scenes since my return. I believe it's time for me to step up and take more responsibility. Celestia froze. Celestia raised her hoof to eject, but Luna continued. I know that they don't want to be equestrian, especially with all the unpleasantness after, you know. They are my little ponies and I failed them. Her voice dropped to a whisper. I failed them, Celestia. I need to make it right. Well, I guess I'll do... Harmony is not fun. Ugh, am I right, boys? Canterlot Auditorium began to slowly fill with journalists, members of high society, and curious citizens. Luna stood backstage, steadying her nerves. This had to be a lot easier in her head. Her stomach lurched and her legs trembled. She tried to visualize her bat ponies. They needed her help. She took a breath, marched on the stage, began to speak nervously, haltingly, but not stopping, of the plight of the bat ponies and her planned reform. Luna sighed in relief. Oh no, it's Twilight. Questions, anybody? Uh-oh. Yelling, questions, noise, anger. Luna backed away from the podium, her legs threatening to give. She fell back on the royal habits. Silence, the room fell quiet. I will take some questions. Please raise your hooves. Yes, you. Canterlot Chronicles. This reforms will surely be controversial. Have you consulted with the public on this? Well, Philadelphia Inquirer. Shouldn't we have a say in allowing new races in Equestria? Yes, but, well, Luna began to panic. Of course, have a referendum. Yes, a referendum. Thank you. No more questions, please. Luna said. Misty Knight often dreamed of friendship, of purpose, of excitement. Everything was missing from her daily life, but today her dreams were different. She sat outside the city, watching the stars. She'd forgotten something she tried to remember. Look at me, Misty, and listen to my voice. You must remember my instructions. Military supply depot, warehouses in the docks, a meeting campsite. Luna stood in front of the... more stuff. Luna stood in front of the Manhattan City Hall, nervous but determined. Today, a bat pony works underappreciated, underpaid in our factories. Today, a bat pony mother cries for foul sick because equestrian doctors do not visit the mountains. Today, a bat pony intending to visit this very route is blamed and beaten by guards for a crime just because in the neighborhood. The crowd gasped. Equestria, is this friendship? No, the crowd thundered with the same fury that coursed through Luna. It had to be directed. I stand before you and ask, not as a princess, but as a pony. I once made the mistake of commanding friendship. Friendship is freely chosen. It cannot be ordered. I need your help, Manhattan. Will you help me? I ask every pony to join, to donate, to organize with me. We must fight anyone who dare call this friendship. Actual cultists? This is the Equestrian army. You're surrounded. Put your weapons down and your hooves on the ground. Divvy for the weapons. Begin to fight. Uh-oh. The Chamberlain hurried to the room, hooves echoing on the marble floor of the throne room. Princess Celestia looked up, curious at the disruption. Your Majesty, a soldier's here to see you. We found her. Well, we stepped up patrols recently, and they were fortunate to find her. He trailed off as the doors swung open. Purple Heart stood. Uh-oh. Unnoticed, the guard slipped away. Luna's dreams had been prepared for this possibility. The press, the people must know Celestia, the bat hater, had fabricated a national crisis to detain Luna and the reform campaign. One of her guards is telling her that isn't true, that she's just doing because she sucks. Screams filled the skies. Tens of thousands of bat ponies took to the air. A millennium ago, they had failed Luna in her time of need, and she twisted her into Nightmare Moon. Now she had been in prison and needed their help. Happening again. No, panicking, fire into the crowd. Then the ponies came firing back. This is a nightmare. You fools. That's not Luna. Equestria army, already on high alert, swung into action as broadcasts warned of the return of Nightmare Moon, but it wasn't enough. Manhattan was the first to fall silent as it stormed by angry crowds. Yep, it's up. Here we go. Crystal Empire, New Maryland, Equestria, or Luna? Well, I'd say the war's pretty one-sided, actually.
Siegfried, these edibles ain't shit.
Do a little bit of that and a little bit of that, and this war will be over in no time. Well, ooh, that's a lot of focuses. Let's go. It is the beginning of the Civil War. Oh, yep. Oh, they broke free. Interesting. New Maryland's in, and the Civil War broke out. Yep. We're talking about pony terrorist groups. I think they're bigger. Yeah. Let's just head through the holes in their front lines, I guess. I mean, it's kind of stupid of them, but you know what? I'm not questioning it. Workers' Republic of Baltimore. The Civil War began. Baltimore was taken by supporters of Nightmare Moon. However, trade union. Oh. This wasn't supposed. Oh. This wasn't supposed to happen. Uh-oh. Oh, they all have focuses. Holy crap. No, I'm good. I think I'll stick to the Lunar Empire. You know what I mean? Now it's just a Southern Pony Battle Royale. Rarity captured. The Sixth Harmony thing. Confederation of Southern States. Yeah, hopefully they can help them out. They can help me out eventually. Oh, what the? It was good for like a few milliseconds. I'll let that be the screenshot. Ah, man, I lost the sweet encirclement. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Pretty quickly. Ah, man. Did they leave? I think they left. Like, I outnumber them, and... Right? Oh. Workout equivalent. And they're dead. No, I'm gonna step 1 foot and there's gonna be 8 billion guys. God damn it. Alright, yes. And I'll just walk right in. Boom. Get a bunch more factories to work with now. Awesome. Now I just need to go to Western Featherdale. Oh no. It's not good. Come on, move. And it shall be mine. Or did they take back? Dang it. God dang it. I'm even at War Stalingrad right now. I don't know about you, but I see this is oh my god, they're so close to capitulation. There's so many bad guys. I'm at war with literally the entire continent. Oh man, I lost Winnie. God dang it! Oh my god! Oh, okay. Not really. You have to stop being at war for this to conclude. They have more civilian factories than I do any factories. Oh. And encircled Stalingrad. Boom. Okay. Now I got 85 factories, 25 divisions, against the entirety of the changeling horde. War plan. New name for Stalingrad. Lunargrad. I'll burn it to the oh. Lunargrad, of course. Exterminate celestial resistance. Okay. Whew. Now, how am I going to do this? Well, at least I can make bunch of new divisions. Let them come, I guess. Oh, right. We're back in business. I didn't realize I got that many guns from just capitulating them. I may actually be able to save this game, which would be quite amazing. Watch. Yes. Come on, ponies. They're almost to Winneapolis, and that's very bad. If you couldn't tell. We need to hold out until these divisions get out. So, what's these things done? Van Hoover. Oh. Yeah, I'll just take that back later. I'll do this later. I need to get out the army training. I can't. Oh my god. Hey, at least it's hurting them more than it's hurting me. Just keeps growing bigger. They're just like, all right, okay, you can, you know what, you can have it. And the enemy of my enemy is also my enemy because they're just communist, which is awful. Come on, I need these guys out. Boom. I have a good feeling about this. Yeah, look at that. I have no idea how that's happening. They're infinitely more stronger than me. They may have medium tanks, but I have artillery. All right, as much as I love Equestria War, it gets depressing really quickly. Yeah, look at that. It's much better than being pummeled to death. I'll tell you that. Especially for a bunch of undertrained bat ponies with artillery. I don't know where I got all these tanks from. Probably Stalingrad, because they had all game to build up. You smell that? Smells like soft attack. How come fighting the much outnumbered people is more fun and extremely easier than fighting equivalent people? And I'll pop these guys out because look at whatever they need on the front. And just sit back and relax, and hopefully these bids don't, die immediately. Look at that. We're just a few days out. And 5 years after the game starts, we are about to close the chapter. That is the constant state of warfare. Yeah. Lunar forces, gas masks with baton and shot, and boom. Lunar Empire civilian casualties cannot be avoided, especially as defenders use civilians as shields or force them to fight. Specifically head for here. And we took all their military factories too. 500,000 dead ponies later and almost 3 million changelings. The war is over. And I call dibs. It's over. Today has seen the end of the Equestria as we know it. Can I do it? Can I do it? Can I do it? I can! Yes! Yes! Oh, God, that's not good. Victory to the nightmare. After centuries of hiding in the darkness, Her Majesty returned in fire and blood. Her chosen people, having bided their time, even as we are treated as lesser by the supposedly friendly Solarists, rose to stand by her. They fought, they bled, and through grim determination and hardened ferocity, victory there was theirs. That doesn't look great. Oh. Canterlot? Manhattan? Or the Castle of Two Sisters? I think, of course, the natural thing to do is to return home. The Lunar Castle. Well, let's cancel the war plan, I guess. Not a war anymore. And, much needed stability. I'm tired. I already have 2 hours worth of content. And it's not that many focuses. It'll be a fun little addition. Let's see. It calls for the reconstruction to focus not on factories, but on rebuilding civilian infrastructure and destroyed residential areas. The payoff in this plan would be more long-term, as it part standards show Her Majesty's generosity towards the people and ensure the workers are going to build said factories don't have to worry about their families living in the ruins. Of course. Seems, the right thing to do. I'd like to read the events for these things. Now, I'll possibly include this as a extra little video on the side. If you're watching this now, then I already have, or I haven't. Actually, I'm thinking that I probably will, because you get to read the events and you get to read the story, and a nice little video for all you who just want to look at it. Because I've been trying to find like all the different outcomes of the changeling victory, because when I did it, it like bugged out because I was like really bad with the garrisons. And I can never really complete it. Yeah, 202 factories. When did we get that many factories? The Tale of Two Sisters. The old stallion before her had every eye in the throne room on him. And the gathered pony's reactions to his plea ranged from surprise and to rage, and in Nightmare Moon's case, amusement. He suggested was beyond what she had expected, and she found it amusing enough that she had began to laugh, throwing her head back and mirth. Of all the things I expected my sister's old lackeys to try, this was not one of them. You amuse me. I will let you justify why I would be so foolish to permit my subjects to worship my sister alongside me before I have you thrown in the dungeon. I do what I must to ensure the stability of our homeland, your majesty. I defied your sister to do so, and I challenge you now. I defied your sister to do so and challenge you now. Punish me as you see fit, your majesty, but I beg you to consider my proposal. Fire and vengeance, justice above all. Well, let's go to prisoners of war here. And boom. After the war, the tens of thousands of Solarist militants in our camps, and the time had come to address the issue of what to do with them. They fought against Her Majesty and spilled the blood of her subjects, yet having them sit around and rot will serve no purpose and instead only be a liability for us. Some have suggested that we let them go. The war is over, and Her Majesty's future is secured. They were on the wrong side of the conflict, but if they're allowed to go back to their families and home, they will serve the Empress through her labor and the families they raise. And some on this side were hesitant to merely let them go and claimed their freedom could be a condition that they renounce their loyalty to Equestria. The more fervent of Her Majesty's subjects say this would dishonor the memory of those who fell against the Solarist, and that any Solarist who wishes the freedom owes a debt of blood to the Empress, a debt that can only be paid through hard labor until Her Majesty decides it is repaid. Let them be. The war is over. Homecoming. The steady chugging sound of the train comes Rocket to sleep, but Blue Skies didn't have it in him to fall asleep. About 10 minutes ago, they had passed an all-too-familiar bridge, and in about 20 minutes he'd be back home. When he had gone to fight off for Celestia, every pony had been so proud of him, and yet he returned home defeated and humiliated, having been let go by Nightmare Moon. He didn't even know what to think about it all, only that part of him didn't want to go home. The entire world seemed to be turned upside down, and he didn't know what to think of it yet. The zeal on which he had fought being replaced with doubt. Wasn't Nightmare Moon supposed to be a vicious tyrant, and yet she had let them go? If that was wrong, then what else did he knew was wrong as well? They'd be saying, thanks Celestia. And safe return probably. More like, thank Nightmare Moon. Thank Nightmare Moon indeed. She's a pretty cool cat. Oh, so far, I have committed minimal war crimes, so just remember that. So I don't care. The 6 element bears stood in front of Nightmare Moon, each of them in chains, and the Empress of the Night towered over them, her haunted gaze traveling over each of the old nemesises. Even after defeat, capture, and imprisonment, they would not show fear. We're not going to bow. Oh, but gloating is a prerogative of victor, is it not? It would be the easiest thing in the world to end you here and now. But in the end, new element bearers would step forth, and I'm not planning to dance this dance any longer. You're free to go, to live your lives in Ponyville without fear of retribution. If we fight again, it will be because the ingrate of my sister chose as a student to, instead of continuing to protect the ponies of this land, repay mercy with vengeance. She smirked, savoring the look on Twilight Sparkle's face, confusion followed by the realization, then shame. The naivety was almost endearing. Guards, see to it they return to Ponyville. As for you, may we not meet again, and may you live peacefully. Twilight Sparkle was kind of a douche for a bit, but then again, did she ever really stand for, the freedom of the ponies? Alright, the barn door slammed open and Applejack face-hoofed where she stood by the cart, knowing what awaited when she turned around. This has gone on for long enough, Granny Smith yelled as she marched out of the house, a helmet in her head and holding a musket. There's still some fight left in Equestria, and the apples will lead the way, hey. She protested. Big Mac came up to him and took the musket from her. You give me the gun back right this instant, Big Mac. Nope, the giant stallion said evenly, blocking her path. Sacktrap came hurriedly aside. We over this, Granny. You ain't going nowhere, he told her, and him and Applejack both gently taking her under one leg each to drag her inside again. You've all been seduced by that dark queen, I tell you. but there's still life in the apple family. Celestia is not forgotten, and we apples will fight to the end. We're apples to the core. I'm telling you, we're not going to war again. The war's over, and we have a family to run. The apples, remember? Granny? Yep. Is this Nightmare's punishment? She's punishing them with shame. Alright, let's get a working economy up and going in these places. It'll take some getting used to the society, but they're very important. What's wrong now? Pinkie Pie exclaimed to the clerk in the last store after 6 hours of searching. No raspberries, no strawberries, blueberries, nothing. Aren't they supposed to be in season? Scratch that. We don't have freezers anymore? It's just we're struggling to get deliveries. Everything else is going fine, but berries are chronically missing. Good riddance. A voice said airily behind them, and Pinkie looked back to see one of the newcomers in town, a haughty bat pony named Libbed Jar. Berries are overrated nonsense. What? Are you crazy? Berries are vital to make a good cake. The balance of fruity and sweet are what makes a cake good. A good cake what it is. If you need fruity, why not use fruit? Berries don't provide anything, and you get good fruit except wasted space. I mean, fruit is fine, but it's not nearly as sweet. Mental breakdown. What is she talking about? Insane notion, twisted farce. Sure, stay with the fowls if you want. Stay with the fowls if you want to. Leave the fruits to the adults. That's it. We'll settle this right way. I challenge you to a bake-off. You're on, berry murderer. Surprisingly nice. They got a conversation, but now they're going to make cakes. The Solaris trials. Here's the big thing. Celestia had been banished, but we managed to capture most of the Solaris generals and leaders. Though it is within our Empress' right and ability to simply banish them, she has chosen to put them on trial. The mewling of the populace has demanded attention, and the Empress has chosen to give the aroused at least the chance to plead their case before her. Their guilt may be beyond doubt, but the display will serve to reinforce her absolute power over her subjects, and may there was even those who return to serve her. A base of either midnight blue with sapphires or dark violet with amethyst. Oh my god. Either combination had potential. Silver thread for details, of course. She couldn't deny she missed working with the gold thread, but limitations were where true mastery showed itself. The issue was cut, however. Should she go a bit more daring or keep it conservative? Ray was mulling the question over, leaning in the back seat when she suddenly realized something exciting deeply. Was she a bad pony? She knew her friends struggled after the Civil War. Some of them deeply. So many ponies had been hurt and struggled to rebuild their lives. Some never would get back all they had lost, and yet here she was selling dresses to the high society ponies. With this recent changes, there was plenty of newly moneyed Threstrials who wanted to indulge in the world of fashion, and many came to her. Business was booming, and she had managed to hire a pair of new tailors to help. Twilight was devastated after Celestia was banished, and all new had fallen apart. Leaning forward, she wrapped her front hooves around as she sobbed herself. "I'm sorry, Spike. I'm so sorry," she whispered, her voice breaking. Spike couldn't hold it back, hugging her as her own tears came. All this reading is getting my throat dry. The lands of Equestria had nigh and changed for 1,000 years before the Nightmare Moon returned, and the recent reforms are going to take a long time to settle in. At the same time, though, they are being implemented, and while change would be slow, it would be exorable. It may take a year, it may take 10, but the Empire will be reshaped according to the Nightmare Moon's vision. The seeds have been planted. Some more hollow praise either, as Nightmare Moon has made sure to sign their status into law. They will never want for food, shelter, care again. The lands taken from them during the last 10 centuries will be returned to them, forcefully if needed. From now on to the end of the time, they are the only ones who hold the highest status in question instead of the filthy, self-absorbed 3 tribes. Gazing out the window in her chambers, Nightmare Moon enjoyed the first calm night in who knew how long. In the time after her triumph, she had been working tirelessly to bring order to her empire, and things were finally calming down. Finally safe. Safer than Celestia had ever managed to make it. The Iron Hoof was not a failure. It was a necessity. And her actions would prove her right. I wonder who this could possibly be, what that whole country could possibly be based on in real life. Dead. And that is that. Do the last focus. After much bloodshed, all the enemies of the Empress have been vanquished, and the moon now brightly rises across all of... God, I can't... Equus. Truly, our Empress is not merely the ruler of Equestria, but the divine master of the entire continent. Now she has assumed her rightful and divine position as the Empress of Equus. Hail the Lady of the Moon, Mistress of the Night, and Herald of Darkness. All shall praise her name. I have 300 civilian factories to work with. Now, if that isn't lunar capitalism, I don't know what is. And the last focus. Because I'm not going to do any of the others. Let me take a big thing for the screenshot, perhaps. I don't know, something like that. It is done. Standing atop the balcony, Nightmare Moon looked over the cheering crowds below as they sang her praises. The fighting was over, and Equus stood united under one great leader. The ponies of the Lunar Empire were now unquestioned masters of the entire continent. Rest now in the sunlight's embrace. Nightmare Moon gains Empress of all Equus. Do I feel satisfied? No, not really. I'm tired. It's late. But I finally made an Equestria War video. And as I said, there's 96 unique focuses in this mod. 96 separate possible videos I could make. But for now, I'd like to say goodnight, or good evening, or good afternoon, or wherever the hell you are. But I'm going to sleep, editing this tomorrow. Maybe it's one video, maybe it's two, we'll have to see. So, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, share, all that jazz, and have a lovely time.